on this computer. And then, oh, I forgot to tell you that I did not, I forgot to post the desktop one, the first video. So I apologize for that. I'll go and do that after this class to this week's video. So I didn't intend to forget about it, but I just looked on the screen. I was like, oh, I'd never put it in. So today, what we're going to be going over is, and then also let me go get the chat up. Oh, that's something that's what we're about to go over that. Chat, there it is. Okay, I need to zoom in more. So anytime you guys need to chat me, just I have it on the right side of the thing if I do. Chat. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have the chat. So can you guys all see my screen right now? It should be like the Python file and the shell. Put a yes in chat or say something. Yeah, sweet, great. So I just wanted to go over some small things in the beginning. So remember, a reminder to finish module 1 and module 2. You guys should be done by that by now. You should be halfway through module 3. Of course, this is a very self-paced course. Take it at your own time. But try, if you want to be prepared for these courses or for this class, make sure to be done by you probably want to be somewhere deep enough in module 3. Probably have hopefully looked at while loops, for loops before this class started. But again, totally fine if not. But I want you guys to be in there. I noticed I think we have in terms of completion of like the module 1, module 2 test, I think we're somewhere around 5 and 4 students have finished it. So, I think you guys, if you guys have been in the class and watching the videos, it shouldn't be too hard to finish module 1 test and module 2 test. We went over the module 2 test, I think in the last one, so I have to post that video. And then hopefully you guys have even more help with doing the module 2 test, but make sure to complete that. As a reminder, there is the PSEP exam at the end. I require that you guys, do all the module 1 test, all the module testing. And again, they're not super hard. You have unlimited attempts. And then I require you to do the assignments that I give you guys. A lot of you guys did. I think 7 of you have already finished it. It's not a hard assignment. It really, if you have done if you've been following along and module 1, it's pretty much based off module 1, just simple print stuff and a little bit of definition looking up, kind of like a small scavenger hunt. But turn that in as well. But in order to get the voucher to take the exam for free at the end of the quarter or at the end of the semester, you're required to get a decent enough grade in the course. So just get on that. But all of you guys who did the module 1 homework that I assigned, great job. You guys did a really good job on it. And so I'm going to release probably after today's class module 2's assignment. And that is, if I can show where it is, sweet, it is this. It is module 2, where it's pretty much the same exact stuff as your module 2 homework or the module 2 assignment that you guys have been doing. This is just an assignment based off of it. So you're just going to create a Python file where you're going to compute the BMI, where you're going to ask a user to input their full name. Then you're going to ask them for their weight, height and feet and height in inches, calculate the BMI. And then we have a little formula for you there. This is a little bit glitched out. That'll be fixed when I probably post it. So BMI, weight in pounds. This is an old assignment, so I have to go and fix it up a little bit, but I'll go and do that. But pretty much it's small things where I'm gonna ask you to do some inputs. Then you're gonna do some small calculations and outputs. Nothing with the if statements that we talked about in 2 weeks ago, or the while loops, which we'll do for the next assignment. So the next assignment will be over ifs and whiles and all that stuff. But for this assignment, it's just gonna be pretty simple. If you've been following us with the class, you're just taking input, doing a small bit of calculation, output. Shouldn't take you that long if considering this is a little bit older material. Does anyone have any questions off of that? If not, I'll go ahead. And then also there are discussion pages in NetAcad. So if you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to put it in there or email me. But if just there's a lot of tools if you guys are having struggles with anything or anything like that. But for anyone that hasn't finished their stuff, I'll probably come out and reach out and say, let's try again on some more of the stuff. But other than that, it shouldn't be too hard to also get on it. So this course is you have enough time to be a little bit laid back, but don't be too laid back, because that's always my that's my own problem as well. Sometimes you get too laid back. So what we want to do is, for the first thing, we're just going to go over a little bit of a summary of our if statements that we did last week or 2 weeks ago. So here, module 3 looping introduction. Well, we're going to do if summary right here. So I'm doing my comments, and then here. Oh, also, I gave everyone's grades back for that did turn in the assignment 1. You should have gotten it before the class today. You guys all got 100%, so good job. This is, if that's a spoiler alert, but great job. Hopefully, you guys all do just as good on your next assignment. But if we want to go, let's go look at a small little summary of if statements. Again, let's just say, I guess in this course, we'll say that if you want to take this exam at the end of the quarter, you need a 70% passing in total, right? So what we're going to say is we're going to say grade equals, this is just a small example, input. This is us getting our input from the user. What is your grade in this class? And again, and just in general for this class, not even code related, this, the grade is not important at all. It's not gonna carry on with you for the rest of your life. It's just for me to know that I can let you take that, give you the voucher so you take the exam, and I trust you that you would do good on it. So in terms of this, we'll do this. So grade equals input. What is your grade in this class? And we're going to say, we'll print our grade, right? And then we talked about before where we said if we'll print grade is greater than 70, right? That's going to be our passing in here, 0700. What do you guys think if we do this? I'll go and we'll print it out. So let's say I have a grade of 80 in this class. Let's say 80. What is this output? What is this going to print out? If anyone wants to tell me in chat. What is print grade is greater than 70 when my grade is 80? Grade equals 80. Brandon says true, right? It's going to be true. Well, we hope it's true. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to run it. We get, what is your grade in this class? I should probably do some formatting. I always have problems. True, right? Okay, perfect. So then next we want to say, we're just going to say if grade is greater than 70, well, we can get rid of this line. We'll comment this all out. Remember, you put a colon here for after if statements, and then you push enter, and it'll be the spacing, because in Python, spacing matters a lot. We'll say, and we'll make a value called passing. We'll make a passing called here. Passing equals true. Oops. And we'll say passing equals false above it. And then we'll say print passing. All good. Now let's run it. Let's see what happens. Oops. So we're going to push run module. What's your grade in the class? I'm going to say I have an 80%. Oh, what happened? False. Can anyone tell me what happened? What went wrong? Says passing equals false. Name false is not defined. Did you mean false? What does that mean? Does anyone know?
You didn't use an uppercase F.
Right, because this is a special keyword. Good job, Crystal. So you have to use special keywords when doing this, right? So now you see it's orange, because now it knows. So when I run it, we're going to get run module, and I'm going to say I have an 80% in the class. True, I passed. Woohoo! So there you go. So passing equals false. If grade is greater than 70, passing equals true. Print passing. And then if I said this again, run, don't do that. Run module, and we're going to give it a 50. False. We didn't pass the class. Darn. We could also do things like this, where we don't even have to do an if statement. What I could do is I could say, let's get rid of this. So what we're going to say is passing equals grade equal, unless this is greater or equal than 70, right? We want to allow 70 to work. Grade is greater or equal to 70. So if I print passing, this is going to print whatever that comes out of it. So if I say I got a 70% in the class, I got true. But if I get a negative 30, that'd be crazy, right? Getting a negative score would be false. So that's a little bit of a rundown of our if statements. Hopefully you guys remember that. And then we could also do, or that this wasn't a rundown of our if statements, but that's just kind of showing us the true false of it. And then if we wanted to, we could say things like if passing equals true, remember it has to be that, colon, we'll say print, congrats, you can take the exam for free. Else, print, actually, let's do this. Let's do an else, if. This just means else if, which is just another thing down. Else if passing equals false, print, oh, not congrats, darn, you can't take the exam for free. Let's say darn. I feel like that'd be too much work for the other one. Darn. Else, print, hello world. Can someone tell me how we would get to else here? How would we, if we wanted to print hello world, what would my passing have to be in order to print hello world?
Would it?
Oh, also, I made a mistake here. I always forget the second one. Can someone tell me what no input? No input would be a good one, right? Let's try that. Kind of curious, actually. Passing would have to be anything that is not a Boolean. I see Brandon has a very good descriptive answer on that one, right? Because if I push this, nothing, it's going to error out because it's going to say, well, I can't assign passing to anything. So it is a good thing to non-integer, right? So if I want to say that also is a good answer. So let's run this with, instead of what is your grade in this class, let's say hello. Right. How could passing be grade is greater than equal to 70? So in this case, in the only way in our code to get to else print hello world is nothing. You can't do anything to actually to break this code. I mean, you can do things to break this code. We just broke it twice. Don't get that wrong. But you can't do anything that could get to hello world. And the reason for that is because when we take in print in input, we're forcing the user to give us a number or it'll crash, right? And then when I say passing equals grade is greater than equal to 70, this statement right here that I'm highlighting, grade is greater than equal to 70, has to be a Boolean, because there's no other way passing could be anything other than true or false. If it's greater than equal to 70, it's true. If it's not, then it's false. So when we get here, this is literally impossible to get to, impossible. Unless we try something which, again, if we added another line to our code, but right now we have a very secure code. I guess that's a cool thing to bring up, is that secure, it's very secure, you can't break it. Unless I go in and change it to say passing equals hello, which would be kind of rude because we're kind of breaking the whole record of it. Would you grade your class? We'll say 6, but we'll say it's going to say 6 false hello world. And the reason why is that 6 greater than equal 70? No, false. But we've changed the value hello, so it's not true or false. It's hello. It's going to go to hello world. But if we take this out, this silly little line I put in, it's physically impossible to get to this print hello world. So I hope that's a good little introduction of how else statements. So in this case, if this is the case, I can actually get rid of this whole else if statement. I don't even need it anymore. Else, darn. Meaning, if it's not true, the only other solution is it has to be false, else false. So I don't even need to put a condition. You could put a condition just in general, say elif passing equals false. But it has the exact same meaning as just putting else, because there is no other possible value that could get to darn, right? And we said anything that's not true, it'll get to darn. That's the best way to think of an if else statement. If this if doesn't work, everything that's the opposite of it will show up in the else statement. So I hope that was pretty good. Keep saying that. And then other than that, we'll start getting on to the next part, which is going to be while loops. So when we're going over while loops, I'll do some stuff right here. We'll do the 3 ticks, which will do a whole comment block. Oh, I hope I don't sneeze. I'm about to sneeze. I can feel it coming. So what we'll do next is we're going to go over our while loops. So while loops. A while loop, and this is, again, if you go over your modules 3, it'll tell you more in detail what I'm going to go over. But while loops is going to be condition-based looping. And the whole point of doing a loop is for something like, let's say I want to calculate, or let's say I want to ask the user for as many times as possible. Let's do this. A good thing to put in a loop is we want to keep repeating a simple task over and over again. It doesn't even have to be simple. It could be any task, it could be complex, but we just want to keep doing it over and over and over again, right? So let's say I have an ongoing code, right? That is, I have a total sum of money that I have, let's say for each worker. So for each worker, we'll keep putting in their salary, but I want to keep adding their salary as we go along, right? In these cases, I can only add the numbers that I have access to. In this case, I can keep looping until I get to a statement that breaks it. So a condition-based loop is pretty much the exact same thing as if, but instead of being an if statement, it's just the way we stop our loop. So let's say while x, let's say x equals 5, while x is less than 5, or not x is 5, x then less than 10, put a colon is important, which is going to do the spacing for us. So while x is less than 10, we're going to print the value x, and that's it. Does anyone want to take a guess at what's going to happen when I print this statement? What's going to happen? All right, no takers. Maybe we needed to show it off. So if I do this, source must be saved. Okay, it's going to print 5, but oh my God, it keeps printing 5 until I had to cancel it. So the cool thing in this is that I have these 5s, right? That never ends. Whenever I run into this, I use Control C. Control C will kill your code. So Alessandro, you're right. It prints 5, but it prints it a lot. Can anyone tell me what the problem is with my code? Why is it printing it out? Let's make this 0. Let's make this 0 to 10. So the reason of this loop is this. This loop will print out each number up to 10. I'll tell you that's what the code is supposed to do, right? But the issue we're having is every time I get to this condition, it's going to say 0 is less than 10. And 0 less than 10 is true, right? So every time this is true, it's just like an if statement, right? Every time it's true, we're going to print x. So that's why we printed 5 a bunch of times, because the number 5, in this case, we changed it back to 0, is less than 10. So it's going to say, that's true, that's true, that's true. I'm just going to keep running until it becomes false. So what I could say is x, well, let's say that x equals x plus 1. And I think I should have went over this actually. X plus equal 1. This equals x equal x plus 1. increments by 1. So this just increments your thing by 1, right? So when I do this, what do you guys think is going to happen now? It's going to have a little bit different answer. If anyone wants to take a guess. I may have already put the answer on the file. If anyone wants to just take a look at that. I'm going to call on someone random because the answer is, oh, sweet.
It's gonna keep printing that until it goes up to 10.
Exactly, right? Because I have x plus equals 1. So when I go through this loop the first time, is 0 less than 10? That's true. We're going to print 0. Then I'm going to say x plus equal 1. So now x equals 1. Is 1 less than 10? True. Print 1. X plus equals 1. That equals 2. Then we're going to go up. Going to say this is going to be 2 is less than 10. You get the idea. But once we get to 10, is 10 less than 10? False. Then we run this module and we're just going to get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we didn't print out 10. And the reason for that is because once we hit the number 10, is 10 less than 10? No, right? 10 is not less than 10. 10 is equal to 10, but it's not less than 10. So it's false. So we end the code right there. So that's how a simple counter. A better way to do this, though, is without having this x equals plus 1, this is considered like a counter, right? We have something that counts for us. We're going to also show a for loop. A for loop is a range-based looping. So in this case, oh, why is it doing that? For x, let's make x equal, let's do for I in range of, I believe I put in 10. Oops, I didn't put a colon. See, print I. Does anyone have any ideas what this is going to print out? I'm going to call on someone random again, but hint, hint, it's very similar to what the exact same answer was for the last question. Moses, do you have any idea what's happening here? I mean, what is this going to do when I print I? Let me actually comment this one. Actually, no, we can leave that there. No, Moses, okay. Anyone else? Numbers 1, exactly, Daphne. Well, I hope it actually is. Let's go see. The question is it going to do 1 to 10 or is it going to be 0? Oh, I should have put a comment, but here's the key part right here. I'll put a print. I'll put a print line right here. Print. Okay, perfect. So now when I run it, you can see the difference between the while and the for loop. So here's 0, 1, exact same thing. So this did the exact same thing. I didn't need to do x equals 0. I didn't have to do while x is less than 10, and I didn't have to do x plus equal 1. All I had to do is say for I in range of 10, print I. And whenever you do I in range of 10, in range is your loop where it's pretty much saying I is equal to 0, means I is less than 0, I is going to be less than 10, I, and this is the term for it, is I plus plus, which just means you're going up one number, but we'll say I plus equal 1, right? So this is the terminology for fors, for in range. So let's say for I in range means this. So all it's doing is it's pretty much a range-based loop, counting-based loop. So in this case, this works. Both are completely fine. But the for loop, if you just saw, only took two lines of code. This took 1, 2, 3, 4. Took 4 lines compared to 2 lines. Because Python gives you, this is kind of the better terms, right? When we're doing the for I in range, this just means we know how many numbers we want to count up to, or how many times we want to get inside this inside of the function. The while loop is like an if statement. We want it to do up to how many times that statement is true. So a better way to use while loops, is by saying, we'll say here, we'll say while passing, let's say, we can say while passing equals true, and we'll put colon here because we're starting a function, and I'll come back and bring over this thing right here. Grade input, this one. It keeps wanting to put the indent there. That's something that's kind of annoying with idle. You just have to change the spacing. And just as a reminder, the spacing definitely matters. You should have known that by now, but still just want to say that one more time, because if I had this tab, it's going to do something really weird. Oh, I had also, it errors out because I didn't put anything in here. What I'll do is I'll just comment this out. And if I run this, I'll show you how weird it is because I put grade as a tab. I'll put 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It errors out because it asked me what's my grade in the class 5 times. Because I have this tab in here and nothing between this, it still thinks I'm in this for loop right here. And then I crashed it by typing in too fast. So you can forget about that. So now I'm going to go grade equals this. And then I'll bring back while passing equals true. We'll say passing. We'll say print, you get a voucher. Right, so in here, we're gonna say that, but what I could do to even make it a little bit nicer is I could put this here. I could cut this out, put this in here. It's a little bit more complex. We're gonna put this thing, we don't have passing yet because passing exists out of the function. So what we'll say is because it exists outside of it, we need to have something before it. So here we'll say passing equals true. So here, in our case, we're going to give it run module. And this is not a good code. Let me just tell you that. This is I just wanted to show you just how this if statement works. So don't go using this. So what is your grade in the class? It's an 80. You get a voucher. 70, you get a voucher. 50, 40. Oh, 40, it shouldn't have worked, right? It fails. But I said, what is your grade in this class? 40, you get a voucher and the code. Because what happened is I took the input in here, 40, and then I got false here. Print, you get a voucher, passing equals true, false equals true. That's bad, right? This shouldn't have happened. What I could do to improve that, let me go back to the thing, is instead of doing this, I could say if, this is where you can start nesting things. You could put things inside of the others, right? So I'm gonna put an if inside the while. If my grade is greater than, oh wait, no, my bad. I could say if passing, we could do another one. And let me show you this as well. This is another trick with true and false. When you put it like this is the equivalent of saying true. Because Python will read this as a true, and that's it. So if true, print that. Else, print, shucks. So now when I run it, I should hope to expect to not get a voucher depending on it. So what is your grade in the class? 70. You get a voucher. 80, 90. I'll keep getting vouchers until I fail. I got a 0, 0. Oh, I put a parentheses. That's why it broke down. That's a bummer. Run. We'll run it again, or not parentheses. I put a quote in there. What is your grade in the class? I have very clumsy fingers. So keep asking me. And the moment we don't get 100% in the class, shucks, code over. Right? So that's kind of the cool thing about it. But if we wanted to even improve of this, well, let's put this in bracket. We'll put this like this. A good way of improving it would be saying we have what am I trying to say? We have a for loop, right? So let's say there's 10 students, right? There's 10 students. So for I in range of 10. So this is going to be 0 all the way through 9, like we said before. But it's just going to do it in 10 times, right? This means go through loop 10 times. And inside here, I'm going to ask the same question again, where it's going to say, for 10 students, get the grade, passing, else. I should probably not do 10 students. Let's do 5. That's going to be a lot of typing. There's 5 students in this class. Else print aw shucks. So in here, I'm going to say go through the loop 5 times. Ask your grade. Did you get that right? If passing print, you get a voucher, else print aw shucks. So this ensures that we get to go to every student. We don't just cancel for one case. So what is your grade in this class? I have an 80. You get a voucher. I have a 4. Yeah, shucks. You get 100. You get a voucher. 70. You get a voucher. And 0. Ah, shucks. So I was able to go for every student. Let's say there was 5 students in the class. I said I had them ask me what their grade was. I calculated that they get a voucher. If they didn't, I said, aw, shucks. Same exact thing, 100, voucher, 70, voucher, 0, aw, shucks. So that is while loops and for loops. Then what we also have is something like this. Let's say we want to check for an error statement. So if passing this, else print aw, shucks. What I could do is this, if, and this is a key reminder is that when I do a different if, that means it's not related to this if, it's by itself, right? In this case, these two conditions relate to each other. This condition relates to nobody. It's just its own if statement. So I'm going to say if grade, let's just give it a crazy statement where we say if grade equals, if you got a negative, or if grade is less than negative, less than 0, and remember we have ors and ands now, I could say, or grade is greater than 100. Let's say you can't get either. There's no extra credit in the class and there's no less than zeros in the class. So if you get anything above these grades, we want to say print this grade can't happen. And what we're going to do now is we're going to say break. Break is another key word. If you see it has a little orange line, break is just going to kick you out of the for loop. It's just a way to say, oh, this whole entire thing is bad. We're going to break out. So what is your grade in the class? 80, 90. We're getting vouchers. The moment I put in 200, this grade can't happen. I broke out. Even though my loop goes in 5 times, like we said before, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I did 1, 2, 3. Grade can't happen. We broke down. So I'll say this, and then I'll continue on one more thing we'll do. So we have this break, and then we'll say this: if grade is equal to 0, colon again. Let's say print you have a 0. Let's say contact me or something. Contact me. I don't know. Contact me. Continue. So in this case, I'm going to run it. So we're going to say we have an 80, a 90. Again, we're getting vouchers, but we have a 0 now. You have a 0. Contact me. But my grade is going, I got to go back into the loop again. And I can say 50. Oops, I pushed enter. I should have pushed it. Yeah. We'll do that one more time. I have such clumsy fingers. So we're here, 100. Oh, I am Very bad at typing. 100, 100, 0. You have a 0, contact me. And then I'm going to say 60. And then I'm going to say 50, right? So in this case, the last one where we had the break statement where I put in a 0. Oh, no, not that one. Where I put in, which one was our break statement? Right here, 200. When we had this break statement of greatest over 100, we broke it, code ended. But when I said the continue statement, we said you have a 0, contact me, continue. So we'll go back and continue the loop. So a break will stop you from finishing the loop, or a break will literally exit you from the loop and continue your code on after the loop. Whereas a continue will keep the loop going. Now, after saying all of that, this is the key part of it, you should not use break and continue. As it seems like and looks like it is a good idea, it's not good for your coding logic to use breaks and continues, because you can just use if statements, right? I could just, instead of having this like this, I could just create an if statement saying, if grade is less than 0 or greater than 100, say this grade can't happen, but we'll just keep finishing off the loop. Or I can say something like, if grade equals 0, you have a 0, contact me. There's no need to put a continue. It's going to do the exact same thing all over again. So even if I took it out. So in these cases, you can always write code without breaks and continues. But in certain parts of your coding journey, there will be times where breaks and continues could be important to you. So I want to show you that right now. But for right now, don't use break and continue because it isn't good for your coding logic. It's really good for it's good for like extraneous cases, which you shouldn't be having, because all these things you can have good logic on and fit and fix without a break and continue. So that's a break and continues. And then what I'll do right now is I will go over this. You should be able to see this now. This is the 3.2.1.16 section summary. So if you go to your modules, this is the end of the looping. Oop, I didn't want to get rid of that. Actually, I like this one. Nope, it's weird. Okay, so here we're in 3.2.1, that whole spiel. So there are two types of loops in Python, while and for. Oh, and then also, if you have any questions, let me take a second while I'm here. Does anyone have any questions? You can put in chat. Any questions about what we just did? Anything you're like, hey, I don't understand how that worked. I'm here for you guys. So I hope you guys do want to ask that question. You can always put in the discussions on the course, or you can just email me if you have questions. I want you guys to do really good in this class. I think computer science is the future. So I hope you guys see it that way as well. And it's a lot of fun, I think, in my opinion. I know sometimes I have fun. Maybe you guys might not be having as much fun as me, but I've always found coding pretty fun. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. And then the new assignment that I give you guys, like the BMI one, I think that's pretty cool. And then we'll go to the third one. The third assignment will be asking like ifs, because I think when we did that flow chart 2 weeks ago, that one was pretty fun. I hope it was fun for you guys. But again, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. And so here, there are two types of loops in Python, while and for, just like what we talked about. While true, this is our condition, print stuck in an infinite loop. So when we had that thing where we kept printing, let's see where it is. If I can go back to it, there's a lot right here, while we kept pushing 5 until I put in a counter of x plus equals 1. It just kept printing until I pushed Control C. Control C is how you kill an infinite loop manually. And so this will be stuck in an infinite loop. So you just keep on printing that. Good thing to do would be Control Command C it, and I can show that to you right now. Actually, let's put all of this inside comments. Ooh, I see why that doesn't like it. We'll put this at the top so that we can make our lives nicer. While true, print that. So here, when I print it, when I run this module, it's just gonna keep going, and I'm gonna push Control C, and then I ended it. Stuck in an infinite loop. It is fun, sweet. I'm happy you guys like having fun. Counter equals 5, while counter is greater than 2. While 5 is greater than 2, print counter. So in this case, it's gonna say 5 is greater than 2. Yes, true. Print 5. Counter minus equals 1. So now counter equals 4. 4 is greater than 2. It's going to do that. Then it's going to be 3 greater than 2. That's true, print 3. And then it's going to go 2 is greater than 2. No, 2 equals 2, just like we said before. So this is just a little bit of a summary of what we were doing earlier. The for loop, right? Word Python. This one's a little bit more advanced than what I said, but I said this one, for in range 1 to 10. I%2 equals 0, print I. So in this case, we have an if statement inside of it saying, print this. And I'll ask what you guys think what this would do. So we'll get rid of this. Now, my question to the class would be, what do you think this is doing? I%2 equals 0. What do you think the output's going to show? And I'll give you guys a minute or two. And remember, modulus, this percent sign is a modulus operator, which means we're finding the remainder. So any number that I divide by 2, the remainder is going to be 0. That's what this means. If the number divided by 2 has a remainder of 0. So can anyone tell me what that would do in English?
Would it just make a list of numbers that can be divided by 2?
But what numbers are divided by 2? What would we call those numbers?
I don't know.
So if I said the numbers, let's say what these numbers are possibly divided by 0, or divided by 2 without a remainder would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, right? Those numbers can be divided by 2 and we'll have a number. Multiples. But what's a better term of multiples of 2? If even numbers, there you go, right? Factors is also one. I like everyone's giving me the other. It's like you guys are giving me the other versions of it. But yeah, even numbers was the one I wanted. So in this case, when I print this out, I should hope that I get all the numbers from 1 to 10 that are even. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then these are the numbers from before. So don't pay any mind to that. But 2, 4, 6, 8. If I said equal 1, what do you guys think this is going to show? If I divide numbers by 2 and get a remainder of 1. Because if I take 3 divided by 2, I'm going to get 1 with a remainder of 1. Exactly, odd numbers. So 3, 5, 7, 9. And if we run this here, the modulus operator is just to show you what the remainder is. The remainder of dividing a number by 2 is going to tell us if it's even or odd. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Exactly, perfect. Now, what happens, this is going to be fun, is what happens if I say, what's if the remainder of a number divided by 2 is 3? So if I have the number 5 divided by 2, 5 divided by 2 has a remainder. Can someone tell me what the remainder of 5 divided by 2 is?
1.
1, right? What's 4 modulus or what divided by 2? Modulus 2, what's the remainder of that? I'll say it's going to be 0, right? Because 4 divided by 2 is 2 with a remainder of 0. What number divided by 2 gives me a remainder of 3?
Nine?
Well, if I divide 9 divided by 2, that's going to give me 4 and a remainder of 1, right?
Yeah, I was.
Daphne gave me 6. If I do 6 divided by 2, that gives me see, this is the modulus. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3 with a remainder of 0, right? There's no remainder when I say 6 divided by 2 equals this, right? So what's the remainder of 6 divided of, is there any number where I can divide by 2 and get a remainder of 3? No, exactly, right? That's the whole point of a modulus operator, of when you divide. You can't have a remainder of 3, right? Because if I say 10 divided by 2, that's 5 with a remainder of 0. If I say 11 divided by 2, it's going to be 5 with a remainder of 1. It's always going to be 0, 1. If I ask for, let's say, I% of 3, right? And this is what Mario was saying earlier was factors, and same with Dagfinir, which is they're multiples, right? Which is if I did it of 3, I% 3, I'm going to get all the numbers. Oh, wait. let's do equal 2. So here, if I say that, we get 258. So 2 divided by 3 gives me a remainder of 2. 5 divided by 3 gives me a remainder of 2. 8 divided by 3, because 8 divided by 3 is going to be 8. 3 times 2 is 6, with a remainder of 2. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a little refresher with modulus as well, as that I think that was pretty fun to do. So in there, that's modulus. We found all the even numbers in a for loop, right? So that's the cool thing, right? You can give me any list of numbers, I can find the for loop. You can do the cooler things, extensions of this would be, give me a number and I'll find you all the prime numbers in a list by just going from for range in I to 100, 0 to 100. I would just do a loop where I say, is any of these numbers divisible by each other? Blah, 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 blah. Keep going, right? That's a little bit more code extensive if you're trying to find all the prime numbers. But if you want to give that a crack, I would be more than glad to help you guys out in that. But it is a little bit trickier, but it is a fun one. But you guys it's good for looping, right? So now if we go back to here, you can use the break and continue statement to change the flow of a loop. I like the way they say that, actually. Change the flow of a loop. You use break. So if anytime we have the word Open Edge Python Institute, the first time we get the letter P, we'll break the loop and we're done. Here we can use continue, saying that if the letter equals X, do nothing, just keep going on in the code. In this case, you would skip print letter end. You would just go to the next line. That's the continue of it. The continue just means you skip this line, but you go back to the for loop. The while and for loops can also have an else clause. This is something we didn't get to go over because this is something that's Python specific. Let me just state that. Other computing languages don't have this, but this one does. While n does not equal 3, and remember this exclamation mark means does not equal to. So does not equal 3. So anything time the number doesn't equal 3, so 0 does not equal 3, print n plus 1, print n else. So you can use the while kind of like a for loop, or not a for loop, like an if statement. So here, I don't want to go too far, but it's going to look a little silly because we have so many things that we've been running throughout today's collab. So we have 0. It's going to say while n does not equal 3, right? N does not equal 3. So 0 does not equal 3, print n, 0, n plus equal 1. Now n is going to equal 1. So we print 1, 2. The moment we get to 3, we're going to stop printing. Else, print n and else. So you can continue doing your loop, but once that loop breaks, we can put an else statement saying, we can also say the condition of the while loop has returned false. So in here, when we had while n does not equal 3, this was returning true because 0 does not equal 3, 1 does not equal 3, 2 does not equal 3. But the moment we got 3 does not equal 3, we go to else. The condition of the while loop has returned false. Then we run that, and then you get that condition of the while loop has returned false, right? So then we go back to here, for I in range, else, same exact thing. And then the range function is going to just say, it's going to start from 0. If you don't put anything at the end of it, it's going to start from 0. And then if you put something at the bottom of it, it's going to start from 6. Like this one's a wonky one, right? For I in range 6, 1, -2, what this is doing is it's starting from the number 6. It's going to the number 1, but it's decrementing by 2. So all this is doing is 6, 4, and 2. Because we're going 6 minus 2, 4 minus 2, and then 2 minus 2 is 0. Again, our condition is while it is greater than 1. So this is just saying from 6 to 1, but going down by 2. And again, I want you guys to do this stuff yourselves, and then you guys can go over it. And let's see, what else did I have? I had one last thing I wanted to show. 4:51. I'm actually making pretty good time today. I was worried I was gonna be late like last time. Maybe I shouldn't have talked so much. I need to find where this is. So they have these sandboxes in there, which makes your life a lot more fun to doing this assignment. Back. Ah, sweet, I can find it now. So I wanted to go to, is this the right area? Let me go see, what did I want? Oh, I wanted 8, guess what, okay. So here, this is again, really cool stuff in the net a cat thing. I want you guys to be doing these. Read two numbers. So this one, all it does is, and again, you guys can do these coding assignments in the sandbox, right? You could just, I mean, I would like you guys to do it in a file, but you guys can test it out here. It's like your own little playground. So 20, 30, the larger number is 30. And then they give you other things. But here we have this if statement. All right, control, oh, let me do that. This one is for 3 numbers, right? This is for number 1, number 2, number 3, and it calculates which one's the largest number of the 3. Now, I thought this would be kind of cool if we can kind of go in to our loop or into our function here. Let me go and create a new one. I'll put this down here. And what I want to do here is I want to go and ask, let's make this into a loop. So in here, we're going to say, print the largest number. So in here, we're going to say nums equals. So we're going to try and make this into a loop so that I can ask you as many times as possible or as many times as you want. So in this case, we're going to say the numbers we want to loop through is we're going to say nums equals int, int input. How many numbers do you want to, actually, let's make this, do you want to, how many numbers do you want to go through? Let's do that. So how many numbers do you want to go through to find the largest number? Here, oh, what did I do wrong? Don't know why it's putting that there. Oh, it's because I didn't put another parentheses. Perfect, okay. And so here we're gonna have we want to go and say, let's loop through numbers and find the largest number the user gives us. Now, my question would be, what type of loop should I use? Should I use while or for loop? Now, so based off what we've all done today, you should be able to answer what number. If I want to go through a list of numbers of how many numbers do you want to go through, right? What type of loop should I use in this case? You can use both. Let me just state that. You can use both very easily. But what's a better choice here would be my question. Does anyone have a?
I forgot the names of them already, but I think it was the first one that you did.
I think that would be the while loop, I believe. So the while loop is condition based. I'll just give you guys a little hint. So or while is condition based. For is counting based. So what does that mean that I should use for this one? Or for is range based counting. So if I want to go up to a certain list of numbers, because this nums input is going to tell me how many numbers I'm going to go loop through. What type of loop should I use?
The for loop?
The for loop, exactly, because it's going to be range based, because we know how many numbers it's going to go through. So all I'm going to say is for I in range of nums. So we just created our own range and did that. You could also use while loop. There's no issue with using a while loop. It's just better to use a for loop here because it's less lines of code. So in here, I'm just going to say, while we're there, I'm going to say number input equals int input. What is the number? I keep forgetting to put other parentheses. Okay, there it is. So number input. Then we're going to put an if statement here saying if number input is greater than largest number, and we're going to set here largest num equals 0. If number input is greater than largest num, we're going to say largest num equals number input, because in this logic, if the number is greater than our current largest number, then that will be our new largest number. So all we're going to do is just reassign it there. Then we have pretty much finished that. And I can go out here and say print largest number is So in here, what I'll say is this. This will be the last task we run before I let you guys go off. When I run this, largest number, oops, I have to save this. Let's do, this was the original if loop. Let's do that, .py. Let's call it that. Invalid syntax, probably because I didn't put anything right there. Largest, no, there it is. So enter first number. This is the first one, right? This is when they only allow us 3 chances. So 30, 10, oh, my silly, I put my silly little hands in there. 10, 20, 30, large numbers 30. So now in this case, we're going to create our own list. So I'm going to say 10 numbers. What is the number? I'm going to say 5, 6, 100, 200, 6, 38, 90, 57, 48. I put maybe I shouldn't have done 10 numbers. Print largest number is 10. We hit an error. Uh-oh. I actually don't know why I did that. I probably made a mistake. Can only concatenate string. Oh, I'm in my other coding language brain right now. We'll do run module again. If I was in a different language, that would have been legal. 3, 4. Then we're gonna say we're gonna go through 4 numbers to save myself some time. 80, 200, 4, 3. The largest number is 200. So we just created a loop that went through a list of numbers that the user gave us, and I was able to find the largest number for you. And we can do that with a lot of things too. I can make this for sum. I'll say sum equals 0. And then I can literally steal this whole entire thing that I just did, actually. And we're going to say for I in range of nums. And let me go in and comment this out. Actually, I'll just go and delete it. It's not needed anymore. So sum is this, and then we'll say number input is this. And then there's going to be no if statement here. All our sum is going to do is just say sum plus equal sum. Oh, not sum. Sum plus equal number input. So in the time I just did it, I was able to create a code that calculates the sum. Total sum is that. And then what is the number? This. How many numbers do you want to go through? So in here, I'm just going to run it. And we should have a I got to do this minimum stuff, 3, 4, 5. So here we're going to say, what is the number we want to go through? We're going to go through 5 numbers, and we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The total number is 15. And because we have 1 more minute left, I'm going to use it to do something kind of funny. There's a thing called Gaussian's equation, I believe. I think it's Gaussian's. If you guys should probably find out about it or haven't gone over it, it's just that there's an equation to go over how many, that the sum of a number up to a list, there's a certain equation of it. So for I in range of nums, I think, yeah, there would be, if I said, let's say range of 100, number input equals, we're going to say 1 to 101 because we want to count up to the number 100. All I'm going to say is sum plus equals sum. Oops, sum plus equals I. And sum equals 0 because we're going to reset it back to its place. Actually, I don't need this anymore. We're done with this code. Sum equals plus I. Print sum. And it should be like 1,000. I want to say, does anyone know what all the numbers up to 100? What if you add them up? It's like the Gaussian's equation. I believe it's 1,050. I haven't done it in a while. Oh, what numbers you want to go through doesn't matter because I got rid of it. We'll say 100 anyway. 5,050. I was wrong. It's not that. It's a 5,050. So I was able to calculate all those numbers in a blink of an eye just by using a for loop. Other than that, I hope that was a little bit of a fun example. I'll show you guys one more thing is Gaussian's equation, Gaussian sum equation, which is number of pairs. So let me see if this is a photo of it. So 10, so number of pairs. So all you're going to do is 100 times 101. It's usually, it's the amount of numbers you have times that by the amount of numbers you have plus 1 divided by 2. So 100 times 101 divided by 2 will also give you 50/50. Something cool to kind of explain to you how this would work if you could also calculate it in that way. So if I wanted to actually do really fast, if I said 100, let's say Gauss equals 100 times 101 divided by 2, when I run this, oops, let's put a print here. Gauss, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put the tick marks all the way up there, and then I'll kill the tick marks right there. So when I print this, 5050, and using Gauss's rule, we also get 5050. So there's 2 ways you could do it. This is more efficient because it's only one operation, but this also works. So there's always cool things you can do in computer science, I guess is my point of saying that. So I'm going to stop the share, and then I'll stop the recording. How do I do that?